MonsterVerse is full of all sorts of crazy wildlife, from the biggest and most extreme to the ones that almost feel like they could actually exist in real life. And since there's nothing going on in the MonsterVerse right now, it might just be the best time to do a power scale with some of the most notable MonsterVerse beasts. This video will take almost 40 of the creatures of the MonsterVerse and rank them from highest to lowest on the totem pole. Just to be straight up with you guys, I won't be using all the creatures of the MonsterVerse, only ones that I found to be the most memorable and more Titan-like for now for the most part. If you guys enjoy this sort of video and help it grow, I might just go back and make a follow-up with the remaining MonsterVerse creatures, or maybe even other franchise monsters. And overall, this video is not going to be super edited or flashy, but I hope you guys and all three of you gals watching enjoyed this community-centered video and get in on the discussion down in the comments below. If you guys like this sort of video, like I said, I'll keep working to improve this format, but for now, here we go. We're about to get to the rankings, so make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's get to it. Alright, so since I'm doing things a little different here, let's become familiar with my list. Since I'm a huge NFL fan, go Birds, I'm gonna mold some sports lingo into this power scale. At the top we have the ones, the stars, the starters in a sense. I'll call this the apex rank. Then we have the twos. These are the ones who are good enough to start for the team, but will never be able to truly hang with the apex individuals without a lot of outside factors in play. Then we have the threes, who sit on the Council of Monsters but have yet to earn the rank of Titan. We call them lesser Titans typically. Finishing up our normal ranks with the fours, these are the true bench warmers in a sense. The team or MonsterVerse needs them, but they are likely to never get further up the hierarchy than they are right now. And then we have the mysterious unknowns. The Titans and monsters you've maybe heard of from the franchise, but you have no idea what they did or are up to in modern times. For you younger ones out there, these are like anything that came out pre-2010 to you guys. It just doesn't exist apparently. Just playing with y'all, I'm old. Once again, I might change up the names of these tiers in the future, but to start off, let's start at the bottom of the totem pole, the unknowns. I always love a good mystery. Here we have Mokili Mbembe. Typhon or Typhoon, not exactly sure how it's pronounced in the MonsterVerse. Baphomet, Leviathan, Sekhmet, Bunyip, Margiger, Yamato no Orochi, and Quetzalcoatl. All of these Titans have so little information on them that you can't really properly rank them. There's not even any good pictures of them available to use. I had to go and make an Apatosaurus from Jurassic World breathe fire to become Mokili Mbembe, and I'm just using a Ghidorah concept for Yamato no Orochi, because it kinda makes sense. All we know about these individuals is that they were easily able to combat and deal with the humans trying to contain them, which isn't exactly the best for ranking nearly indestructible creatures. But I'm sure if we got more information on these specific individuals, I think they would probably likely end up in the 2s and 3s category. Middle of the pack Titans and creatures who are deadly to mankind, but not so much to the more powerful Alpha Titans. Let's get to the meat of the video now, the fours. The fodder of the MonsterVerse Titans. Here we have the Wart Dogs. Now as a pack, this species can be highly deadly, able to take down the biggest of Titans. But individually, they're really not all that impressive, more like animals than I guess actual Titans. And something similar could be said for the next individual, the Spine Prowler. A deadly hunter from the Hollow Earth, but against bigger, more actual Titan foes, it probably should just keep its distance. Next we have the Skullcrawler species. Now I'm gonna go and mention how Ramarok, the big one from Skull Island, isn't normal for the species. It grew that big because it was stuck on Skull Island with no natural threats or predators, and it wouldn't have got that big without all those factors in play. I'm still fairly sure that the Skullcrawlers aren't even technically considered Titans within the lore of the MonsterVerse, so I think putting them in this category is fitting. Just like the next creatures, the Warbats. Now these things came real close to being in the next higher up tier, thanks to how much trouble they gave Kong in the Hollow Earth, but if he really knew how to deal with these Warbats, this was the first time he ever came in contact with this species. I feel like he would have gotten the upper hand a lot smoother. The Warbats are just a lot like the Skullcrawlers. Really dangerous, deadly animal monsters, but they're not Titans. This next one might be a little bit of a surprise, Suko. We have to remember that he is still just a little nunchuck child, and that's why he's low ranked right now. But one day, he'll get better and make his way up the Titan totem pole. The last creature of the MonsterVerse on this specific list I'm gonna include into this tier is Doug. Don't hurt me, everyone. This species might have a very secret power hidden deep within to become the supreme alpha, but more than likely not. Doug may be an apex when it comes to knowing what the ladies like, but otherwise, he's definitely belonging in this tier. Next, we have the threes, the lesser titans who primarily play the role of punching bag for our stronger ranking individuals. Here we start with the Mutos, all three of the ones that we've seen so far, the female, the male, and even the queen, because we didn't see her do anything, to make us think that this individual is stronger than the female from the first movie. One-on-one against the Mutos, Godzilla can take them down pretty easily, but together, their might gave him a real run for his money. You have to remember that this species within the lore evolved specifically to take down the Gojira species. And we're not done with the Mutos, we'll get back to them later on in this video. Next we have the Kraken, a titan that a lot of you might not even know because I don't think a lot of people really watched the Skull Island cartoon that came out. Regardless, you can't deny that this thing was a real menace to Kong and the island itself and gave him a real good battle at the end of the series. I think being right here in this tier is perfect for the Kraken. And then we have Tiamat. Now there's no denying that Tiamat could have been more highly ranked than this, especially when you take into consideration the battle that she had with Godzilla, not in the movie, the one from the comic. But ultimately, I didn't put Tiamat any higher because, well, I feel like you have to give Godzilla more than a 10-second battle to really be higher ranked here. Next we have a co-star to Tiamat from that MonsterVerse video game that nobody remembers, Abaddon. To humans in the normal life of Earth, this thing is terrifying and extremely deadly. It's a big giant death spider. But we already seen how Kong can easily get Abaddon to kind of just go away, and I'm pretty sure Godzilla could stomp that bug within a few short moments. In this next titan, even if Godzilla did stomp it to death, I'm pretty sure that it would be able to come back, and that is Nakika, the titan who can die and then come back to life in a sense. That's a pretty awesome ability, but since this titan was pretty much captured and contained by humanity, it's definitely not going to go higher up on this tier. Next, I'm gonna put Amulek in the threes, a crazy and wacky monster. Amulek was easily able to take down the next titan in this category, Behemoth, but ultimately these two kind of play a similar role in the grand scheme of the MonsterVerse. More of environmental titans than the ones that are actually going to be fighting for that apex title. Godzilla pretty much came in and treated these two like toddlers that were having a fight and easily separated them, so I think their rank in this category makes a lot of sense. Then we have the Ion Dragon, the big bad titan villain, I guess you could say, from the Monarch TV show. This titan had a real cool battle with Godzilla at the end of the series and managed to actually put some damage on the big G-Man, so that's impressive. But ultimately, it was just a matter of time before Godzilla dispatched of this enemy. Next in this tier, we have Methuselah, which we don't know anything about Methuselah. We haven't seen it since King of the Monsters, and we probably never will again. If this titan was ever fully fleshed out and, given a true backstory and I guess abilities and all of that, I think it could have easily been maybe even in the Apex category. It kind of has that Godzilla and Shimo thing going on after all, but ultimately, we'll never know. And that's why I'm keeping Methuselah right here. And then there's Scylla, a titan that tried to square up with Godzilla multiple times for some reason, each time getting whooped up on until eventually turning into the Nickelodeon slime. Scylla had the heart of a titan that should be ranked higher, but ultimately should have known its place. Right there at the threes. Alright everyone, we're making it to the big leagues now. The twos, the titans who will challenge the alphas and give them a run for their money. You'll know the first one, I think, Kong. Now this isn't me saying that Kong doesn't live up to the apex status. Obviously, he's kind of the star of the MonsterVerse now, whether you like it or not. We know that Kong's got the heart of a champion, the soul of a king, but without outside factors like his axe or the gauntlet, let's just be real, he's not an apex titan in the MonsterVerse. And neither apparently is Dagon, Godzilla's relative that I think still exists in the MonsterVerse lore, hopefully. Naturally, you would think an individual from the Gojira species would be at the highest rank possible, but since Dagon, stopped living, I don't know if I can put him there. I'd still love to eventually get more of a backstory with Godzilla and Dagon. Oh well. Next we have Rodan. Always a challenger, never quite making it to the top. Against most of the titans in the MonsterVerse, Rodan could probably win, but we know that whenever he goes up against the true apex titans, he just can't quite make it over the hump. just like Kamazot's the next monster here. The one time that Kamazot's actually tried to take on Kong and, I guess, conquer the world, well, you probably remember how that went. It was able to be taken down by a sonic boom from a jet. And then, of course, Kong punched it in the face and threw it in a hole, but still, it was pretty much defeated by humanity. And if it wasn't for that, I think Kamazot's might have actually been in the Apex category, because it can change the world around it, just like someone else who's in that Apex tier, which we'll get to here soon. The Scar King sure thinks he's in the Apex category, but we all know he's not. His agility and neat little fighting moves are certainly something to admire, but ultimately, he's just kind of a punching bag to everybody, at least in the way that he was presented in the new Empire movie. And I wonder if the Scar King knew about this ancient Kong who's next on the list, the Rival. All we know about this individual Kong is that way back in the day when Godzilla was still kind of young, it pretty much whooped up on him, or did something to make Godzilla still kind of fear him in a sense and think about him thousands or millions of years afterwards. And to be living rent-free in Godzilla's mind, that's saying something. This Rival Kong was a brute, maybe even stronger than Kong. And last in this category, we have Shinomura, which, yet again, I'm not quite sure if this Titan still exists in the MonsterVerse lore, but I'm gonna assume it is for this video. This monster wasn't able to kill Godzilla or defeat him really, but Godzilla couldn't defeat it as well. An atomic bomb was used to actually kill this thing, so this is one of the few times where humanity in the MonsterVerse was actually the one who defeated the big bad monster. If it could have done more damage to Godzilla, there's a chance that this thing could have been ranked higher. Alright everyone, let's end with a massive bang. The Apex Titans are next up. The ones, the individuals you want to start for your team. A lot of these are self-explanatory, and I don't want to go that deep into it, but obviously, you know Godzilla's on the top of this list. Do I even have to explain why he's up here? No, not really. You guys know. And since Shima was able to pretty much be equal with a Godzilla who apparently was 20 times stronger than he was in the prior movies, yeah, Shima's also in this tier. And if Shima had the aggressive spirit and attitude of Godzilla, I'm pretty sure Shima might actually be the strongest Titan that we know of in the MonsterVerse so far. But she's a lover, not a fighter, and that's probably for the best. And naturally, you can't forget about the one Titan who was actually able to kill a Gojira species member, like straight up, like 100% we know that this happened. And that is the Muto Prime. Whereas we have random remains of Gojira species members in the Hollow Earth killed by who knows what, we know that specifically the Muto Prime killed Dagon in a prior battle within the MonsterVerse lore. And judging off of the imagery, it doesn't even really seem like it was that much of a fight. And even when Godzilla took on the Muto Prime, he was pretty much going to lose to it if it wasn't for humanity intervening and coming to save the day. So absolutely the Muto Prime makes sense right here. And if the King of the Monsters is in this tier, of course the Queen of the Monsters has to be here too, Mothra. She's constantly being killed and brought back to life. Pretty sure this Titan's immortal and is probably connected to just life itself more than any of these other Titans. If there's one Titan that we can go and say that they are probably actually a god, it's Mothra. And if we're talking about gods, we can't forget about devils. Ghidorah is absolutely an Apex Titan. It took everything from Godzilla, humanity, Mothra to eventually defeat Ghidorah. Obviously, Ghidorah has its weaknesses. It can't fight worth a damn in the water, and clearly Shima was able to defeat it back in the day. But this is a world-destroying Titan, and naturally is an Apex. And so this next one is a little different. It may come as a surprise, but ultimately, no Kong individual, but the Kong species as a whole is definitely in the Apex tier. The Kongs are kind of weak. They're pretty much just giant, strong humans, right? They can die from all the sorts of things that a lot of the other Titans, like Godzilla, Godzilla gets shot by a rocket, he's fine. If Kong ever got truly hit with like a missile barrage, he'd probably die, and that's why we've never seen it happen in any of the movies so far. But when you have multiple individuals from this species, dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of them, yeah, they're gonna pretty much do anything they want and nothing's gonna get in their way. Except maybe Godzilla somehow. Just imagine if the Kong species was allowed to keep evolving and growing within this fictional universe, and they eventually just turned into like giant humans, able to make all sorts of armor and weaponry and just were as smart as us, but Titans. just like how humans would be ranked pretty low in the real world when it came to like a totem pole sort of scenario. You give us our thumbs and our big brains and our weapons and everything we can create, it elevates us to that top tier. And the same thing can be said for the Kong species. And finishing this power scale tier video out, we have Mechagodzilla, which, I don't know if we can actually count a robot as a true titan, but obviously, since this is a monster with a lot of legacy in this franchise, it makes sense. We'll count it anyway. Now, a fully powered Mechagodzilla, fully fleshed out, probably maybe the strongest thing we've seen in the MonsterVerse. Regardless of what it is or what it did, Mechagodzilla is absolutely in the apex category. So there you have it, everyone. There's my power scale tier ranking of some of the more notable MonsterVerse titans and creatures. Do you like how I have everyone placed here? Would you change it up? Let me know in the comments. So I hope you had a good time with this video, even though there really wasn't much flashy editing. Let me know what you think I could do to improve this format going forward, and like I said, share it around, because if it gets some good views, I will definitely make more videos like this, if you enjoy them. On that note, everyone, thanks for stopping by Dangerville. This has been Jacob. I'll see you in the next one.